Good afternoon. Thank you. Very kind introduction, Ivan. So, as Ivan mentioned, I'm the editor of Cosmetics Design Asia. We're an online news website, and we strive to keep up with the fast-paced industry on the region. The site launched in 2012 is still the baby of the cosmetics design portfolio, but despite it still being in its infancy, we now attract over 20,000 visitors a month. Recently, we also launched a Mandarin version for the 800 million speakers around the world so that they too can stay on top of vital industry news. We also report on the US and EMEA markets, and the websites there are managed by my colleagues Simon and Andrew. It's worth mentioning that while I am a journalist based in Europe reporting on the Asia region, we do have a panel of go-to industry experts that we do speak to that give us some advice on the region's latest innovations and developments in areas like regulation, business, formulation, and market trends to bring our readers the most up-to-date insights. Which brings me to today's topic. Earlier in the year, we ran a special newsletter on the sun protection area, the state of the global market. And it was on speaking to experts like Dr. Alan Kayat, you can see here in that area, that I realized just how confusing sun protection labeling still can be for consumers. In that many of us have been conditioned, regardless as to our skin type, to reach for the bottle with the highest SPF factor without really knowing why. As you can see here, the Data Monitor research states that Asia Pacific ranks the highest globally in terms of sun damage concerns in 2014. Yet, just 19% of that were found to actually apply sun protection on a daily basis. So from talking to our experts, that 19% that do actually take the time to protect their skin aren't always reaching for the right product. Now, I'm sure it will not come as news to many of you that skincare protection in Asia is about obtaining clearer, whiter skin and treating pigmentation irregularities from as young as 15. Excessive exposure to UVA, which penetrates the skin deeper than UVB rays, which most sunscreens historically claim to protect from, stimulates the production of melanin, causing hyperpigmentation. So naturally, people on the region are looking to avoid or treat the effects of this pigmentation, rather than wrinkles. Yet experts like our Dr. Kayas say that where consumers should be looking to UV protection to treat this, they're still seeking out products with high SPF factors. The issue with SPF is that it mainly measures the efficacy of a product against UVB, while PFA measures the protection against UVA. And while there are a lot of broad spectrum products out there, claiming to provide both UVA and UVB protection, the equivalent UVA defense to that of the UVB stated is frequently not the case. On top of this, the marketing of UVA protection products such as PFA, protection factor in UVA, and UVA plus messages have been sending unclear messages to consumers. In many countries, UVA protection is not mandatory and the labeling is left to the company. In China, India, Japan, Korea, or Taiwan, the mandatory marking is the PA+ systems. While in the Mercosur, it's PF-UVA, followed by a number, broad spectrum is prohibited. In Canada, the UVA protection labeling is optional. And add to this the boot system introduced long ago in the UK, which indicates the UVA protection with stars. So in Europe, for example, a product with SPF 30 must have a PFA of 10 minimum. That's 1/3 of SPF. But the labeling is with the UVA in a circle, adding another logo to an already confused consumer. There's also been a history where a product that claims to have the highest SPF factor has competitive advantage. And while that what some refer to as these pure marketing stories have been cracked down in Asia, or Europe rather, there's still a long way to go in standardizing these claims in Asia. In fact, even the most genuine marketing stories can be a major hurdle for both the consumer and the brand if a company does not know its target audience, regardless as to how great the formulation can be and how well it can fit a market's needs. For example, let's say an international beauty player develops an ideal formulation that treats or prevents pigmentation for the Asian consumer. As many of us know, how you then communicate the function of that product is everything in determining its success. And in the area of sun protection, even if the consumer can get their head around the SPF, UVA labeling systems, it then becomes about what they perceive anti-aging to mean. When an Asian consumer sees this buzzword, anti-aging, on packaging, they automatically view it as a treatment for wrinkles, a skin issue that a lot of us know here is not a big deal or a concern until you're in your 40s, not pigmentation. So even brands will lose out, even the major players will lose out on this key market if they're not on the same page with what their target consumer perceives their buzzwords on packaging to represent. In this instance, our experts advise brightening or even complexion enhancing as the way forward when communicating a UVA protection product. So let's have a look and see what the industry is doing. In a time where it's still confusing for consumers, there has admittedly been a considerable amount of sun protection awareness campaigns, celebrity partnerships, and shade initiatives. Take, for example, Nivea here. The brand, widely recognized around the globe and with the sun care range present in 15 of Asia's countries, launched an international campaign earlier this year to increase the awareness around the risks of UV radiation, stating that there are, quote unquote, still far too many consumers out there who are not aware of the risks. The brand teamed up with British artist Thomas Leverett for the campaign, who uses UV cameras to show how sunlight changes the skin and how the right sunscreen product can protect against it. Others, meanwhile, have attempted to educate the industry, like this Swiss player, Quamare, whose skincare range caters to the needs of those exposed to hot climates. Now, many products sold in Asia are formulated in the EU or are developed by the region by European brands, like this one here, which has managed to get the brightening marketing concept right on its CC cream. But they mentioned that the problem for them was explaining the benefits of an SPF 30 and broad protection product over the benefits of a higher SPF product that doesn't have UV protection. He mentioned that distributors and retailers on the region still had the mindset of the higher the factor, the better. So in some instances, international brands and perhaps even Asia's own players are finding it hard to break new ground and innovate outside the old SPF belief systems. But on a bit of a brighter note, we'll take a look at some of the innovations that have actually made it out onto the market now. First, I guess it's, as I mentioned, that Asian consumers are open to a lot of skincare products from around the world. So factors which mainly influence their purchasing decision are claims, price, and texture. So texture takes precedence for most, which can be tricky for formulators in this area, as products with a high concentration of UV filters are richer and stickier by nature, which isn't attractive to Asia's on-the-way-to-work users who want a lighter product that they can apply before their makeup. While product claims attract the consumer's attention, they will only buy it for the right price and will remain loyal to that brand only if they like the texture. So take this renowned blogger's review, for example. She writes about picking a UV protector gel by Kanibo, as it was one of the few she said she could find with a PA plus rating that didn't dry out the skin. However, she didn't recommend the products to her readers after using it, as she mentioned that it did deliver on the protection claims, but it interfered with her makeup and dried out her skin. And we all know the power of bloggers, be it in Asia or around the world, so it's probably a word there for brands to take note. Elsewhere, though, we are starting to see more broad spectrum products, some multifunctional products that the alphabet trend has piqued consumers' interest for, that offer convenience, ease of use, and cost-effective solutions. Most BB and CC creams include sun protection, but the Body Shop Moisture Whites here and the Etude CC cream are particularly useful with all-in-one solutions to use as a separate sun protection product, rather than having to use one or two products, use it all in one that provide both SPF and UVA coverage. However, the problem in this area is that efficacy credentials can be perceived as weaker in these type of products due to the perception that individual functions are diminished or diluted than combined in a single formula. So sun care brands do need to beware. They cannot afford to rely on single functionality, but must respond to consumers' growing desire for products that offer multiple benefits. There's also been a flurry of innovation in sun care protection accessories. So we have the likes of these stylish bracelets that you can see on the left-hand side that track sun exposure and recommend types of sun protection that you might need, as well as alerting your skin before you start to burn. Or if you really want to take it extreme, you can always go for this novel way, like these beachgoers here in China. The face kini trend has become a bit of an internet sensation over the summer, racking up 12 million posts on Weibo. The mask is designed to protect against jellyfish, but it's also worn as a form of sun protection, mainly by middle-aged women, but it's starting to trend on its own. It's coming in a variety of styles and colors, and some are even getting personalized versions. So that's it from me, short but sweet. Hopefully this research has been thought-provoking, if nothing more. It's worth reiterating that I don't claim to be an expert in this area, but merely as a journalist, it's my job to observe the key industry issues and to give you a bit of food for thought as to how we can collectively communicate better with consumers and indeed industry stakeholders around the globe. Based on these findings, I feel confident in saying that the tide is turning for the industry in Asia and that it is becoming more focused and more aware of the importance of UVA products for ethnic skin. And could there be a future without SPF? Well, wouldn't that be interesting? Thank you.